So next question is feedback easy or difficult? So giving is easy, receiving is difficult, or both are easy, or both are difficult. What are thoughts any one person wants to share?
Yeah, hi. This is Natanj.
Yeah.
So I personally feel that generally people do not want to take feedback. The
Hmm.
general, I think
Hmm.
everyone will agree to it. Generally, people are, also the bad listeners. To be honest, they want
Hmm.
to give their own experience, but they do not want to take. So in
Hmm.
the other words, yes, you are absolutely right. It is little difficult.
Hmm.
People generally do not take. But however,
Correct.
a good leader, a good manager is the one who actually, take the feedback from the team as well.
Correct.
And what's going right and what's going wrong. That's what.
Correct. Yeah. So feedback is not so easy and it's usually difficult. So the question we ask is feedback easy or difficult? So here are some statistics. So my performance review was inaccurate or unfair. 55% of the employees believe that. Next, performance review is the most difficult and scary part of their job. So this 25% of the employees think that. Uh, their managers lack of ability slash courage to have feedback discussion is a big problem. So 63% of the employees say that the manager doesn't give me feedback that is useful or doesn't have the courage. And managers, on the other hand, consistently rate feedback as one of the most difficult part of their responsibilities. You think giving feedback would be easy, but giving feedback in a proper manner, it's not so easy. So these are some of the surveys, and these are done year after year and similar numbers come up. So organizations are spending billions on performance reviews, training people on how to give feedback, but things are not going so well as we can see from the numbers, no? Feedback often meets resistance. Sometimes it's rejected outright. And instead of people improving on feedback, often it creates toxic culture. So something is not working, correct? Something needs to be improved. So we will move on. So what is the solution? Normally, people spend so much time, and I mean individual and organizations both, how to give feedback in a better way. Push harder, continuously give feedback. Don't just have a performance conversation once a year. Tell them all the time. But the focus is on give, give, give. And I think that is the problem. We have it backwards. Why do we have it backwards? The focus should not be on teaching givers how to give feedback. The focus should be at work and at home on helping us more skillful listeners, as Mitansh said, and more skillful learners. Yeah, the onus should be on us. So we should become better. And believe it or not, this is the key variable in your growth. Whether you learn from this training program or any other training program, it depends more on you than any other factor. Whether you learn at job more than the manager, it depends on you. And we all wish that we have special mentors or special people in our life who would teach us patiently, interesting way, who would understand us. But they are really rare. They come once in a while. So becoming a better feedback receiver will help us to learn, grow, and move forward. Because let's be real, those kinds of people who are mentors and give us real good feedback are rare. Okay. So this is what it means, that we need to learn how to receive feedback in a better manner. Now, we want to teach others how to receive feedback. Well, if you are the manager, be the role model and immediately people will follow you. No? So I come home from work and spread on the sofa, put my feet on the table and watch TV for 2 hours. But I would tell my children when they were younger that, hey, go study. So does it work? So I'm sure you have been in that experience. But if I do what I preach and it works very well, yeah. So we'll move on. So as we said, we are trained how to give feedback all the time. Yeah. But we are not trained on how to receive it. So we are changing the game as to if we become better feedback seekers, we can learn from almost everyone. Yeah. Including maybe our mother-in-law and including that toxic boss and whoever else is out there. Okay. So
Tushar, hi.
yeah.
You know, you said we are learn how to give feedback.
Hmm.
We are trained how to give feedback.
Correct.
Is it so? I really doubt. Let's not talk about in the personal life.
Hmm.
In professional life, I don't uh, feel that most of the time feedback is to encourage or to improvise. It is more of a criticism.
Yeah. True. So by feedback, what we mean is when someone does something wrong, then we have to tell him or her that this is what you did wrong. So I
Rather than
agree.
giving the guiding the solution, it is just like it's not done. You have not done it. Like so
Yeah,
that's not a feedback.
right. Very true. So even the training for giving feedback, it's not very prevalent, but you must have heard of give feedback in a sandwich, right? How many of you have heard of sandwich feedback? So you say something good, then you say something unpleasant, and you top it off with something good. So, or when you give feedback about specific behavior, don't label them. So these are the kinds of things we have learned on giving feedback, but we hardly ever learn anything on receiving feedback. So that's what I meant. And some organizations don't even train people how to give feedback. So agreed. Yeah. So why is feedback so hard? We understand that it's necessary for improvement. Yeah. Why do we avoid it? Why do we dread it? Why do we even dismiss it? So here are the reasons. Receiving feedback sits at the intersection of two basic human needs, two separate needs. Yeah. So what is the first one? One is our drive to learn. So are we natural learners? Yes or no? If we were not, we won't teach ourselves how to speak or walk or talk or excel or whatever else. No. So it's another fact that teaching might be difficult. Some bad teachers make it bad for us, but human beings have a natural drive to learn, and we are curious beings. So that is our first. And feedback helps us learn. Without feedback, it's difficult to learn. So if this is the only part, then why does feedback sometimes feels like colonoscopy, or pulling your teeth out? So for the ladies who are married, when your mother-in-law comments about your cooking, how do you feel? It's not good. Or for at work, you have worked hard on a report and boss says, hey, this is nonsense. How do you feel? No? So these are the kinds of things. So instead of gift that we can learn from, feedback feels like real hassle. And the reason is the second part. Second part is our longing to be accepted as we are. Because if you don't accept me as I am, that means I am not enough. There are faults in me and the ego comes into play. So feedback sits at exactly the intersection of these opposite forces which pull in different directions, and this is what happens. So boss tells me my report is bad, and I sit down and write down 10 things that are wrong about him, or I at least do it in my mind again and again. What has he done? How are his reports? So instead of thinking that, hey, maybe I need to improve something or have a discussion on what he wants from my reports, we go on this mental video which takes us somewhere else. No? And as I said, if mother-in-law comes in or a sister or or even a mother comes in and comments about how you have arranged the house or how the bathrooms are unclean, and then we start, instead of saying that maybe the bathroom is unclean, we go on a tangent and it becomes like many of the TV serials that are mother-in-law, daughter-in-law kind of thing, at least mentally. So as we said, because of these two opposing forces, human needs, feedback becomes so hard.